The regime led by Barack Hussein Obama is weighing options for reducing our U.S. nuclear force, including a reduction of up to 80% in the number of deployed warheads. 80%. Folks, this is staggering. Meanwhile, the Iranians are nuking up. Iran announced today that they're going to cut off oil to 6 countries that have opposed its nuclear program. And more importantly, Iran also announced that they have installed domestically made nuclear fuel rods in their Tehran reactor. Now, if that's true, this is significant because the sanctions that are currently imposed on them are supposed to prevent them from getting the material that you need to make nuclear rods. And also, if this is true, it puts Iran that much closer to being able to make a nuclear weapon. We are unilaterally disarming. We are not requiring the Russians to go along. And even if the Russians said they would match these reductions, they lie. That is the lesson of the Russians and nukes. I think our top, what was our top moment? We had, our number of warheads peaked at 12,000 in the late 80s. And let me tell you something. That number of nuclear warheads is what helped us win the Cold War. That number of nuclear warheads sent a message to every other nation, particularly at that point in time, the Soviet Union. You hit us, it doesn't matter. We've got enough left to wipe you out in retaliation. That many nuclear warheads was a deterrent. So much is flashing back at me. You go back to the 80s and the 70s, the nuclear freeze movement, the peaceniks wanting to get rid of nukes. And there was an arms race going on, and we were increasing our stockpile, as were the Russians. The numbers mattered only in terms of deterrent. We had to keep up, and we had to stay ahead. It was the deterrent. You build, for example, the B-2 bomber, hoping never to have to use it. The left has never understood this about military matters and defense. They never understood this about nukes. You build them so that you don't have to use them. That's the point. You don't build them because you want to. You don't build them because you can't wait to use them. You don't build them because you're warmongers. You build them so that you don't have to. It's what's behind practically every major weapon invention and manufacture. The B-2 stealth bomber, you hope you never have to use it. Now, we have had to, obviously. But the hope is that the brute force and the ability to project power is enough to deter anybody from taking us on. It's a great strategy. It is how this stuff works. And now, Barack Obama is reducing our stockpile unilaterally by 80% back to 300 warheads. Now, you might say, well, that's good, Rush. It's making the world safer. It is not making the world safer. If the Russians still have 1,500 or 2,025, whatever the number is, folks, there's a balance of power here that has shifted away from us. And this, I am here to tell you, is by design. The Associated Press is reporting that Obama could cut our nuclear weapons arsenal by 80%. That is just staggering. This would amount to unilateral disarmament. 300 nuclear weapons would take us back to levels not seen since 1950. If we cut our nuclear weapons down to 300, Russia will have 5 times 1,550 nuclear warheads. If we reduce to 300, we will have fewer nuclear warheads than the Chicoms.